Maryanne, you may step in. I am ready for the interview with you.
Hi. Okay. Um, get up, walk into the room, and I'm kind of like looking all around me, making sure that he's about to pop up. Hi. Thanks for inviting me in. What is this for?
Hi. Yes, so we're doing an interview with each and every one of the students, well, my students. Um, Basically, since we just finished assignment 2, the hunting and hiding, basically that task. I'm just touching back up with the students, seeing where your headspace is, seeing where your mindset is about assignments 1 and 2 before we move on with the rest of the year. Um, I know Triggs came and got you. I don't know if he told you anything about it, but basically, I'm going to be asking a couple questions off this paper, maybe some that made me curious, and I will basically jot down notes. Depending on your answer, you may or may not get points, extra points on top of assignment 2. No worries, I'm just trying to see where your mindset is. So yeah, have a seat. And as you're just standing there, you see as this room is basically barren. It's basically matte gray all around. There's only this table that the professor's on the opposite side with a little clipboard, a paper on top of the clipboard, and a pen in her hands. Then there's this flat metal desk, and then another seat on your side. The only decoration in this room is a slight stand where it has a little vase on top. Other than that, it looks like an interrogation room.
I nervously walk over to the chair. My hands are very sweaty. I put my hands down, sit down, and crane my neck around, looking around, trying to make sure this is actually just a room and nothing else. Okay, Professor, I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay, so let's begin then. So I know how you did, but how do you think you did in assignments 1 and 2?
Oh, that's a pretty good question. I definitely think that there was room for improvement on my part. Um, I'm not the best at surprises, and it just kind of threw me off a little bit, but I don't think I did too terribly.
Too terribly. Okay. You see the professor jot down some notes. You can't really see what it is, but she just moves on. So the next question, what do you think was your strength in the tactile team simulation, also known as assignment 1 to the students? What strengths do you think you had for that assignment?
I think that my biggest strength in that assignment was being able to organize my team. When we first started off, we wanted to make sure we played into everyone's strengths, and I felt like I really listened to my teammates, even though I might not have performed my best. I think my group work was stellar.
Okay, we can both agree. I do not think you did your best on that assignment. Um, but let's just before I ask anything else about that assignment, let's just move on quickly to the next one. What do you think is your weakness in the team tactile simulation, also known as assignment 1 again?
I honestly think that my weakness is carrying into everything. I I wasn't trained to really be in combat. And there's still something that holds me back when it comes to like actually trying to hurt another one of my classmates. I don't think I was fully prepared for how competitive this will be.
Okay. Um, so even though this isn't a question, but um, you do know that since I'm your homeroom teacher, as I stated the very first time I met you guys, my goal is to have the very top 10 students of this year be from my class and my class only. Um, One, you guys will get granted your wish, as everybody was told. But yes, we are one of, if not the most competitive university in the lands. Um, there's nothing really off limits. Now, I want you to take that and run with it. I want you to understand this concept and let that mold you. We are competitive, and at the end of the day, it is about the win. On graduation year, yes, there is this big artistic display that you will have to convey, but we want to push you to the hardest we possibly can every single assignment, whether that be brains, bronze, your agility, anything of the sorts. So, with that weakness, I'm going to have to say, please, I need you to step it up. I know you were one of the kids that I pulled over to the side in the very beginning before you even got your dorm rooms. So I'm keeping a close eye on your group, and I believe you guys call him Tuck, his group. Please, step it up. Next question that I will be writing down that is on the paper. What was the thought process behind leaving your teammates to fail?
Oh gosh. All right. I just want to get the story straight on that. Truly thought that Zar needed some time to collect himself. I mean, he went through something incredibly traumatic. If for any reason I would have even thought that this might have meant him being excluded and automatically failing, I would not have done it. I feel terrible. And I know the rest of my team also feels terrible. This was probably the worst thing that could have happened that did happen out of all of the exams. I would have rather failed everything than to have done this to Summer.
Okay, it is your answers, and I'm not going to knock you on that, but remember, it is 100% competitive, and only 10 people will be able to graduate at the end of your 4 years. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying it was a good thing you left him. It's not. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but at the end of the day, you will have to separate teamwork and prioritizing yourself. The next
I
question on
understand.
this list.
Wait, I'm sorry, Professor. I understand that, and I don't want you to think that I'm not competitive, but I truly believe, and I was taught to believe, that everybody should have equal footing, and me winning because I pushed someone down is not actually me winning. When I win and when I'm part of that top 10, it's going to be because I did it on my own and not because I needed to trip up one of my teammates.
Okay. I prefer that answer rather than the one you gave before. Shows initiative. Um, because so far, I am not going to sugarcoat anything. You are my student, and I believe there should be an open communication between my students and I. I do think your team is lacking in a lot of aspects. So I like the initiative you are taking. I like the determination you're showing. Um, we might just have to step it up slightly. If you take a slight glance at the team number one in our class in our year, for at least my homeroom, you see people like Yenavir. I don't know if you've met him before, but he is this burly student, definitely more bronze over brain, but that is not to a detriment to himself. He is determined. He has surrounded himself with equally, if not stronger, comrades that push each other and show competition amongst their own ranks. Um, if anything, strive to maybe be him, maybe beat him. That is up to you, but that is the type of things I like to see amongst my students. Camaraderie, but also competition amongst each other, willing to do whatever it takes. I know that your group was the first one to take a life. I will say if that provided any trauma to you, we do have an in-house therapist, so I apologize for that. But that is not off the table. If you have to be the last one standing amongst all, well, what used to be 40 kids, by all means, I would not mind culling the competition if that is your goal. That is just a heads up between me and you. That has nothing to do with the interview. So yeah, I like the initiative you are taking. Finally bringing putting you higher on my list. So my next question has to be, what did you enjoy more about assignment 2? Being the hunter or being the hider?
Um, you probably won't like my answer to this, Professor, but I did prefer to be the writer. Um, I have to say, the one thing that I really do like about myself, aside from being able to study and read, is being able to verse an opponent and win without causing them any harm. That for me is one of my biggest strengths in life. So I did prefer to be the hider.
Okay. Um I'm not knocking with you what you like. Everybody has their own skills and talents. And that is why the graduation is a more open-ended artistic display because not only bronze would get you the win, also not only brains would get you the win, or agility or so on. It is more about the emotion behind it, the feeling, the act itself of whatever artistic display you have. You don't have to answer right now since it is just your first year, but I know in the very beginning, it was told to you guys that you will have to do an artistic display. I'm just wondering, I'm curious, do you have anything in mind for your artistic display? Like I said, you don't have to answer with detail. I'm just curious if you already started thinking about it.
There was a song that the monks would play growing up, and it resonates with me deeply. And whenever I'm feeling like this might be a little bit too much, this being the school and the challenges and the tasks, I play it in my head and it calms me down. So while I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, I know that it's going to be a tribute.
Okay. I love it. The more emotion, the better. The more in tune you are with it, the better. The next question, this and then there's probably one or two more, and then we are done with the interview, so you don't have to worry too much longer. How would you rank your teammates? So, by your teammates, I'm talking specifically only about you, Triggs, Jack, and Czar. Only you four, in order from the best, basically the best of the group that is most likely to succeed and graduate to the worst out of you four. How would you rank your teammates?
Hmm. Well, out of my teammates, I do think that Driggs is probably on the top. His undying, unwavering confidence in himself is probably what's going to get him through. Um, After that, I'd have to say Jack. There still seems to be a lot that I don't know about him. Then I would say Czar. While he's anxious, he has an incredible power. And guess by process of elimination, I would put myself last.
You see, as the professor kind of like shakes her head and just starts writing a little notes on the paper, and that's an interesting list. Everybody from the group usually ranks themselves differently, depending on what they see in each other. But yeah, I'm never very supportive on ranking someone, well, themselves as the bottom. But hopefully we can work on that by the end of this first year. Um, and then the final question to wrap this all up: do you have any questions for me? I know that communication has been kind of limited between me and the students. That's just because I wanted to test you guys on assignment 1 and 2. I promise we will start having classes and start opening up the room for discussion amongst ourselves. But if you, like I said, I want open communication. So for right now, between me and you, no one else is here. Do you have any questions for me?
I know you actually kind of answered my question earlier, but how how common are deaths from the students in the school?
So, as I stated previously, it's not really frowned upon. It's always sad. Don't get me wrong. I like to treat my students as if they were always going to win. So I do build this connection and try to learn about each individual student, learn their strengths and weaknesses, so I can help build them up in the aspects that they want. But it's never off the table. To say that it's common would be a huge stretch. Usually, if we have a class of around 50 to 40 each year, I would say maybe by that graduation date, 10 of them are like wounded to the point that we have to kick them out of school. Maybe at most five would die by the end of the year. It looks like this class is different, has a different type of, I would say, intensity to them. Um, I know Czars was an accident, but the other death that we had on assignment 1 was not an accident. And it was to call the competition. That being said, I think this year might have the most amount of deaths, so I would always recommend to protect yourself above everything else. I hope that answers your question. It's not, well, it used to not be that common, but I think this year might be very different.
Okay, I guess I do need to step it up if I want to continue. Now, you said that there was a therapist in the school.
Yes.
How how does one get involved in that? Because I've been having some interesting dreams, and I wouldn't mind talking.
You see how she writes down some notes as you say that? Um if you're truly wanting to speak to the therapist, I would come to my office. I would say probably tomorrow morning or any day tomorrow, any time tomorrow, after I conclude all the interviews and wrap up all the paperwork. And then I could get you in touch with her. And then we we technically have two, depending on like the how many students we have per year. So it could either be the guy or the girl that we have for the two in-house therapists. So yeah, just come see me tomorrow if you're truly needing one.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
No problem. Marianne, on your way out, can you return to your dorm room and just tell Jack to come here now. I'm just gonna do his interview after, and I should almost be concluded with the whole interview process.
Of course, yes, Professor. Will do.
And I can't wait to see you on the first day of actual classes. Hopefully you make some friends, and hopefully this year goes by smoothly for you. Take care, Marianne.
Thank you, Professor. You too.
No problem. And with that, you leave this interrogation room of sorts. It's the matte gray, the metal table, the coldness that was in that room. You realize you were sweating slightly, and as you finally open this dull wooden door, um, it swings open heavily, and as you walk through, you get this new breeze, this new life basically blown into you, and now you're on your way to the dorm. That concludes the interview. Thank you, Marianne.